All right, here's a good question. So Annie and I knew each other all through high school. Okay, so what advice would you give Annie in high school or other kids that are in high school?
What advice?
I would like to know.
Well, I would like to answer your question. What advice would I give to somebody in high school? Oh man, so teenagers are at such an interesting age where they're very self-conscious and they're trying to, at least for me, I was trying to kind of be my own self and be noticed as being my own self, but at the same time you don't want people to notice you in a way that isn't true to who you are, or like you don't want people to make fun of you, or blah blah blah, like etc etc etc. So I guess my advice for teenagers would be just to focus on building your identity as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, to really ask yourself, what am I good at? What do I like to do? Especially, what do I like to do? And how can I help people by doing what I'm good at and what I like to do? Because essentially that's what, I mean, I kind of feel weird saying that because everyone's like, well, let kids be kids, which is true to a degree, but at the same time, when you're a teenager, you're in that stage where you're trying to develop your identity anyway. So if you know that's what you're trying to do, and I think the transition through teenagedom would be easy for you, and you'd build a lot more confidence than just kind of going through it willy-nilly.
No, I like kind of the intentionality, and I think that's generally something kind of hard for teenagers, and I'm not sure why, but I think like that's something I really connected with, and that's why I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do when I left college, but I think that's why I generally had an easier time kind of getting a rough idea of what, because I knew I really wanted to help people, and you know I kind of had my ideas of what that looked like, and that shaped over time. But that really feeling like I had that purpose really drove me a lot, and like it shaped an identity that has changed, but like it, you know, it is a lot easier for me in that regard, as far as like trying to figure out what my role in society might be or whatever, or really more in the world.
Yeah, and
definitely let kids be kids, but like, you know, if you're preparing kids to kind of be a part of society, that's, you know, that's a good thing.
That's a great point that you bring up. It just makes me think again of the school system. Like if you give the children the resources, if you give them the resources to discover themselves, that's what's going to be important, and that's what's going to make the world a better place.
Well, yeah, I feel like we learn all this stuff, but we never learn how to love ourselves and things like that. You
definitely don't cover anything spiritual without it being a religious clusterfuck.
The first F-bomb dropped on this channel. What's something from childhood or adolescence you really want to hold on to?
Yes, such a really beautiful question. And that would be, as we were talking earlier, how did I say it? The inhibition, the fearlessness that you have when you're a child, that you don't care what other people are doing. You don't even know what other people are doing because you're not paying attention to them. Which can be, as an adult, it can be good and bad because it can really lead you to harming other people depending on what your intentions are. But at the same time, it also shields you from the people that are there just to distract you, or that they're there to bring you down or discourage you. And kids are really spontaneous, and that's something that I would love to have back, to be able to do something without planning it or without having a weigh a decision, just to be able to spontaneously do what it was that I felt like doing at that time. I feel strongly that I'll go closer towards that, especially in my journey through entrepreneurship, where really it's just finding out who I am and developing myself more so that I can help other people, but also the benefit of being able to set my own schedule and things like of that nature, to have that freedom to be myself.
Mm. What is the worst advice you have been given?
The worst advice, yeah, would definitely be, how to say this. One way to say it would be just to go to school and get a good job and wait for retirement and, you know, set up your retirement. Like, that is hands down the worst advice I've ever gotten or ever tried to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Because for many reasons. One, it leads to a super boring life. That's probably the worst side effect. Your life is going to be super boring, and it's not, ultimately, it won't be yours. It'll be inauthentic to who you are. I know, especially if you're a creative person and you're an artist or a musician or, you know, painter, whatever your method would be, you can't express yourself freely when you're focused on the security of just trying to get a good job and set yourself up for retirement, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It really holds you back from being an individual, and it makes you part of the masses. That
the conveyor belt.
the conveyor belt, and I just like picture zombies walking, and
exactly.
Who wants to live like that?
Mm-hmm. There's no color to life when it's just that's what you're doing.
True. I imagine it like a gloomy day as the zombies are walking by.
Yeah, but like, nope.
That's
okay,
good.
so on the contrary, what's the best advice you've been given then?
What's the best advice that I've been given? I think some of the best advice that I've received, and it's not even really advice, it's just kind of encouragement. That would be like, you can do it. Whatever it is that you dream of, you can do it. Even if it seems crazy and completely unrealistic right now to where you are, like you want to be really rich, you want to be really famous, or you want to help 1 million people. There are a lot of people that, especially those people that are telling you to go and get a good job and to, you know, get your 401k and contribute to it which isn't a bad idea. I mean, you should definitely set yourself up for later on, but that's a different conversation. You can do it. I mean, you can be who you want to be, and you can help others, and you can be wealthy, and you can live a joyful life. You can do it. You can do those things, and you can choose not to listen to the opinions of others who don't have any value and can't provide any value to you. Another point of good advice would be that not everyone can be your friend. You can't trust everyone, which is something that I learned the hard way. And you really can't. You can't trust everyone. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Not everyone's out there to help you be a better person. So that's good.
Yeah.
It's good advice, but I think it is kind of still one of those things that you kind of have to experience it, because when you're a child and a teenager, like, you kind of do trust everyone, or I did at least, and you're just kind of sheltered a little bit. And most of the time, I mean, there are obviously exceptions, you just don't see, you're not able to see that this person that's trying to give you advice, although their intentions may be great, they're nowhere near being on the same path or even in the same direction that you are.
That's good. Well, then, kind of like going off of that, then what would you say you've learned about friendship? Kind of in that. Oh, see what I did there?
Oh, like that, tying it in.